Shit.
This article came out where Cyborg Ray Fisher actually finally, like, and then the dude who did the article, the woman who did the article, like forced him into it. They're like, no, seriously, what actually fucking happened? Yeah. Spill the beans, Jim.
It was good. It was a good article.
Yeah, but you go and read it for yourself because it's way too long to really dive through. Let me pull it up here, anyways. But
yeah, like I read it, dude, and the first thing I did, I was like, I can't fucking believe it. I was like, can you believe how much of an asshole he is? Like that's the first, like that's when you know it's written really well, and that interview was on point.
It's crazy, dude. So they said the first thing they said was, so when did you hear Josh was going to do his version and significantly change things? And Ray Fisher said, let me tell you, they wouldn't even let me read the script until I agreed to meet with Josh. I was supposed to go to LA, and this is how things were getting, I knew things were getting bad. They flew me out to LA. This was around the time of Wonder Woman. I was going out there and meet with Josh, and they were supposed to deliver a script in my hotel room, and they didn't deliver the script. And then it goes on and on. There's a whole lot here, so I'll let you guys, it's on Vanity Fair. You can just Google it later. But what he goes on to say is that he basically talked to him, and eventually, at some point in this, Ray Fisher just brought up some concerns to. Joss Whedon had sent out an email to everybody on the set, and it was like, "Hey, I know this is difficult. It's difficult for us. We're really trying to piece this thing together, but we have an open door or whatever, basically." And then Ray Fisher on the phone with him was like, "Well, there's this thing." He said apparently there was a thing where he was afraid that people who were disabled or who had been in car wrecks and stuff like that were really going to take issue to how they were talking about their characters.
Oh, is that what he meant? He just said labeled. I didn't know that's what he meant.
Yeah, that's the way I took it, at least. But long story short, Joss Whedon apparently, after like his second notion, was like, I don't do this. Okay, it's like when Ari Gold is in Entourage talking to E, he's like, I resent this. He was basically like, I don't fucking do this. Okay, he was like, I don't even take direction from Robert Downey Jr. I don't take tips from Robert Downey Jr., so I'm not gonna fucking take them from you. And wow, I like a whole bunch of shit like that's in there.
The main takeaway I took too, well, again, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, he literally Ray Fisher calls him an egotistical, narcissistic asshole, pretty much, without calling him an asshole. He's like, I bore witness to things that I can't talk about, and I'm not going to talk about. That's for people to come forward. But he was just talking about how toxic the environment was, how bad it was. And one of the main key factors, and it was so obvious, dude, he's such a turd face, because he said that he knew that Joss was pissed off that people did not review Age of Ultron kindly for him. Mm-hmm. So it was like a revenge plot for him to be on Justice League and then take it out on everybody else. Like, I can't fucking believe they didn't like it. You gonna like it. I promise you. Like, it was like, I could see it because, and he said he'd walk on set, and it was like, because they were comparing the differences. Zack Snyder was one of those guys. They said he was very open-hearted, very open-minded to any kind of new idea that you wanted to try. He wasn't trying to be, the goddamn general from Tahiti and tell you everything exactly, like Major Paint it. Like, he was like, oh, if you try something, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But he said Joss Whedon was stone cold, ironclad. Fuck it. Walking in on set saying, he said he was in that phone call with him, and he was like, two beats in, he was like, boom, that's the way that it is. Like, he was like, I was trying to give him some ideas, like, that's the way that it is.
Yeah.
Even though he'd sent out an email to everybody else saying, well, we're all trying to help each other, and we want they make this movie really good. It was necessities. This is what he had to say. I couldn't believe it, dude. And Joe Manganiello was in the interview with him, and he was like, whoa. Like, even he was like, damn, I didn't know that, because he didn't shoot any scenes with Joss Whedon. And you could imagine. And I feel bad for Ray Fisher, because he's like, this was his first big movie, and he thought he was going to have a breakout performance with Cyborg. Then you have this prick that's like, I created Buffy. Comes in on set and like acts like an asshole and like ruins it. And dude, what's crazy too is when you listen to Ray Fisher, he said all the scenes in the Whedon Justice League are new with him, except for the rooftop scene with him and Commissioner Gordon. All the other scenes were reshoots that he had to do. And I did know that in the article that the entire thing, the
entire movie for Cyborg had to be refilmed for Joss Whedon.
Well, and the thing is, I don't remember. I don't know how that works, but they did ask him in the article, which is a good question. They asked him if he was contractually obligated to come back for reshoots. Could he have said no? And he's like, well, no. I mean, like, he's like, they have, like, I guess, because I'm not an actor, we don't know, but I guess there's like a work schedule, and it's in your contract that there is you know, you either have to do reshoots, and if they're not going to do reshoots, then they fill it up with something else. So they're not going to just have you sit around and pay you these millions of dollars and not have you do something.
Right. And then not
So
only that, but I mean, Joss Whedon didn't even have a handle on the film. He said he was so obsessed with the Avengers while he was doing this movie, basically, that which this is being stretched a little bit. And let me comment on this really quick too. And I'm not trying to shit on you, man. I don't agree with the labeling that's going on there. But DS616 says short version: Fishers are raging SJW. Don't spin this pathetic nonsense into thinking Whedon did anything wrong in that set encounter. That's kind of a problem both ways, DS, because I understand what you're saying, because we kind of said at the beginning, it's like, okay, Ray Fisher, like, this is your first movie you've worked on. You keep saying there's a problem. If there's a problem, say what the fuck the problem is. Quit hinting and stuff. They went and did a whole investigation for you, and now it kind of seems like you're being this or that. That whole thing, I totally understand what you're saying. But and maybe he is, but at the same time, I think the whole problem with everything that we're doing as a society now is just throwing labels on everybody. It's like, well, you can't even stand up for anybody without being called woke, but at the same time, you know, you can't even like disagree with someone without being called a goddamn bigot. So like, let's chill on the fucking labeling, but at the same time, this is things that he's not just said about Whedon, but has been backed up by other people about Whedon as well. Whedon's own wife, his own ex-wife, said stuff like this.
100%, dude. If I thought he was just out bullshitting and calling around just to be an asshole about it because he didn't like the way, you know, his movie turned out, or like his part was all, I'd be like, yeah, fuck him. He's being an asshole. He's being a little pussy, and that's the way that it worked. But no, dude, like, this is not just him saying this. Like, Whedon has had multiple people, like, recently talk about how much of an asshole he is, how hard he is to work with. And I can believe, and again, I'm only basing it on what I'm seeing, I can believe that his ego was so fucking shot because Age of Ultron was not what it was in Avengers, and that he gets pulled in on Justice League, and where it's 95% probably done, and they're like, all you got to do, man, is just finish the last 5% and let, you know, Zack Snyder have his moment in the sun. He was like, fuck that, I'm not doing it unless I get to make my movie. And that's what he wanted to do. And Ray Fisher even says that scene where the Flash falls on top of Wonder Woman was ripped straight from Age of Ultron, and said it was so bad that Joss Whedon actually referred to Diane as Natasha a few times during their conversations, because he was just focused on the Age of Ultron and the Marvel thing, which he said it was kind of weird that was the whole point. I don't believe that he's just some screaming, you know, tampon, man-pon SJW. I believe that, you know, the fact is Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder's wife watched the movie, would not let Zack Snyder see it because he said it would break his heart. It was so different from what he had done before. Well, so
and just trying to be gray about this whole thing as much as possible. I mean, I read that's what I was going into. He says that he literally took the scene, like you said, where Flash fell on top of Wonder Woman straight out of Avengers: Age of Ultron. That though, it's like that scene. It did happen with Hawk and Black Widow, right?
Black Widow, yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, that scene has happened in rom-coms for the past 50 fucking years. I mean, that's not like, you know what I mean? But it is telling that when he was talking to people about the movie, he couldn't even say Diane. He was saying Natasha. When he would refer to Wonder Woman, he would say Natasha, because he was thinking of fucking. And this is the prime example why we've always fucking said they don't all have to be the same. Warner Brothers fucked up by, and I shouldn't say this because we're really hoping to get our goddamn Snyder Cut critics screener, but
that's 100% correct. I mean,
let it be DC.
I think that was Warner Brothers in a lot of ways. I'm not saying that Joss Whedon is any, you know, that he's not somewhat to blame for it, because he is. I mean, that's the guy that was behind the camera, you know, directing the scenes. But Warner Brothers, dude, tell me the truth that you don't think that Warner Brothers executives, when they brought Joss Whedon, was like, yeah, give us some of that MCU life juice.
They were.
Go ahead, pump it in, pump it up, baby. That's what they wanted.
And there's different people at the helm now, but then for sure.
They definitely wanted that MCU life juice. They wanted him to pump that up and put that in as quick as they could on fucking a DC movie.
Oh yeah.
And that's what happened. But, you know, look, is Joss Whedon an asshole? Probably. Did he do everything that he's saying? I don't know. Maybe. The fact is, do I think that he changed the movie because he was butthurt over the reviews of Age of Ultron and he did want to follow in the footsteps of Snyder? Yes, I believe that's 100% accurate. You got to remember, this is Hollywood, dude. The egotism out there is fucking unbelievable. This is like, you know, pumping up your tire when it's already full of air. Like, they just keep pumping it until their dick explodes. It's just full of hot air and bullshit. And the thing is, Joss Whedon, I like Joss Whedon, dude. I think he's done some amazing things. Avengers is still one of the best movies out there. That moment that he captured on screen with all of them coming together was amazing. Then you look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I never liked that show that much, but he did that, and he did Firefly. He's done a lot of good shit. But it's like, if it were me, and I knew that my accomplishments already were like, I did all these things, right? And I took one major turn in the toilet and I didn't flush it with Age of Ultron, I would get over it. I'd be like, yeah, man, sometimes you take a shit and it just comes out wrong.
Yeah.
And then move on. I would be more focused. And I feel like it's such a disrespect, dude. Like the guy, literally his daughter, what happened to him. Yeah. And you can't even just come in and fucking shoot the rest of his movie. Yeah. You're an asshole. Like made it about you.
It's one thing. I saw Jamie said it, but it's okay when Tom Cruise does it. Different situations, right? Complete different situations.
He's Les Grossman.
Tom Cruise had people on his set that were putting everyone's jobs at risk, right? And he lost his mind. And he didn't disparage any other creators while he was doing it. And he did it out in the open in front of all these people. What Joss Whedon did was he came on the set of a man who just lost his daughter. Mm-hmm. Who couldn't finish the film because of a family tragedy, and then he comes on set and he's openly talking shit and just shitting on the actors, shitting on the director, doing all the things he's doing and being disrespectful. That's to me that's a huge difference. And again, we're talking about a guy whose own ex-wife came out and said, no, this guy is a piece of shit. I saw somebody the other day, I don't know how true this is. This is, again, it's rumors, but someone said that one of the writers who wrote the Avengers, Whedon, apparently came on, rewrote his entire thing, and didn't give the guy any credit. If you look at the smoke and you follow the trails, there's a lot of fucking bunny trails leading to a big fucking red sign that says Joss Whedon's a huge dickhole. And I love the Avengers, man. That hurts me. I don't like to say it. We were fine with Whedon coming on. We said, hey, I don't want you guys to try to Marvel this thing up. BDC. But in our
we just thought a competent director was coming on to complete the vision.
Yes. And at that time, people were fucking just dancing on Zack Snyder's grave, dude. When that announcement came out that Whedon was going to be the new director, people on Twitter and the internet were dancing on Zack Snyder's fucking grave while the dudes at home taking care of his family because of what they're going through. They're like, yes, finally a real director. Now maybe DC will be something, blah, blah, blah. I'll forget making the video. Be like, hold on, fuck on. It's not Whedon's fault. We were in Whedon's corner. We're like, Whedon's a good director. We hope he does a great job. That's really cool that he came on and they had this thing. And then you find out that they spoke one fucking time. That Zack Snyder and him had one conversation after he'd already started filming the damn movie. It's been a crazy fucking ride, dude. But
what don't matter is that Whedon is competent. He was competent when he made Avengers. He was competent when he did Firefly. He was competent when he was doing Buffy. I meant competent is the fact that he knew the landscape. I figured he wouldn't be a complete asshat and come in there and like just completely rewrite Snyder's vision and be like, no, I'm not doing that. And the fact that you have to corral your actors in, that you won't even give them the fucking script until they meet you so that you can, baby butter their butt to get them on board. That's what he was doing. Because he's like, I know that if they see this, they're not going to like anything about it.
He thought he was Restaurant Impossible, dude.
He's like, I'm going to take them out to a fancy dinner at Applebee's. And then I'll get them on my side. But it's just the fact that he did it so blatantly. And again, I know people can be assholes, and I'm not going to call out every fucking person in Hollywood for being an asshole because Jamie said it's right. Tom Cruise was an asshole. It's not that. It's the fact that what's so mind-numbingly like idiotic is the fact that he walks into a situation knowing that a director of a movie that he suffered a really bad tragedy, his movie is almost done, and you take a shit right on it. Like you take a dump and then piss on his actor's face because you're mad at what the Hollywood Reporter said about your Age of Ultron movie. Yeah. God damn. I mean, at least fucking get off your period before you make a movie. Because if you're going to be like this, nobody wants to work with you. And by the way, Joss Whedon is at this point, he's fucking got himself in some deep shit. Because like I'm not saying that Marvel won't hire him back. He's done with Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers will be fucking stupid if they hire him back for anything.
There's people coming out left and right with stories about if you look at the stories about the actresses on the set of Buffy and stuff and how he treated them and the pregnant ones and stuff. Yeah, it's coming. I mean, I hate to say it, buddy, but it sounds like the dude's a bag A graded donkey.
And again,
poo.
I've worked for really shitty bosses before too. I mean, I wouldn't call them out for every goddamn thing they do. That I mean, because you gotta go thick skin. I mean, if you work in Hollywood, especially if you're on YouTube, you gotta have thick skin. People are gonna say things you don't like, and you're gonna hear things you don't want to hear. But if you're blatantly an asshole, and you're going out of your way to be an asshole. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a difference between like being a tough boss and then just being a pure prick,
Right.
and having a power trip. So
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. But anyway, man, we got Zack Snyder's vision now, and what I hope to happen, I hope this movie makes so much fucking money. I hope it makes so much fucking money that the Zack Snyder universe can continue. I hope that Warner Brothers come back. Like, if you dropped your trousers right now, I'll suck you off for you to come back.
Let's do
Like,
this.
I want that.
Let's do these super chats so we get to break, get everything set up for Damien to come in. But Joe Madero, I can't agree with you anymore, by the way. Joe Madero says, great job of the video earlier today. I love that you guys should do more. Also, have you guys tried getting an interview with Matthew Lillard? Yes, we will try until the end of time to get an interview with Matthew Lillard. I don't even know if that's a different situation. I don't even know if Matthew Lillard's heard our. That's a different thing.
I would love to talk to him, though. It'd be fun.
Well, we'd love to. Edward Santiago, Whedon, tough guy until Feige walks into the room.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. By the way, you know it's got to sting his ass a little bit after Age of Ultron doesn't do very well, necessarily doesn't do very well. I mean, he still made a quadrillion dollars for MCU, but then they hire the two brothers from Winter Soldier to direct Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't even ask him to come in to shoot one scene. That's gotta fucking burn your ass for a while.
What are you gonna do on October 31st?
What are you gonna do on October 31st?
Here comes that white-faced fucker, an asshole like no other. He's a big old piece of shit. Wants to stab your sister's tits cause he's a white-faced fucker. Loomis can't recover. Dr. Challenge drunk again, sleeping with your sister's friends.
Do you want to know about the darkness?
I said, God damn.
God damn you, Michael!
I said, God damn.
A lot of people don't know the darkness that goes inside their hearts.
I said, God damn.
God damn you, Michael! What are you gonna do on October 31st?